Andrew Wilson, The Crucible, one of my favorite channels on YouTube. His response, apparently there was some drama.
Because there's lots of people slinging lots of allegations at me at the moment. Some are pretty funny. And
wait, what are they? Let's read it. Your wife cheats and has kids out of wedlock. What the fuck is this criticism? The woman who wrecked the fuck out of Andrew Wilson for being a hypocrite is a Twitch streamer named Charlie. She ripped the mask off of Andrew's double standards. This simp gives his hoe wife Rachel a pass while condemning other women for doing the same thing. He's not a family values advocate.
Some are just stupid.
Interesting.
This happens to me probably once a year. People going ape about something that I've done. I've done kind of viral video after viral video after viral video.
We gotta watch more of the Naima debate.
I'm just going to clear the air on a couple of things because some of the attacks that come.
Some Asian boy says, found you through the Roach King. Keep doing what you love. Thank you so much. Thank you, some Asian boy. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
At me are just bizarre and I don't even understand them. So before we get into that, the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is well poisoning. What poisoning the well means is that people will attempt to, before you have any message that you ever commit to or say or any debate that you're ever in, to somehow try to make you look bad or make your position look unsound or something like this before the position.
Well poisoning, a rhetorical tactic and type of informal fallacy where adverse, often irrelevant information about a person is presented to an audience before they get a chance to hear their argument, with the intent of discrediting or ridiculing their subsequent claims. So it's like basically where you make some kind of like personal attack, some kind of claim about them that's not even related to the argument. It's crazy because it happens a lot, actually.
It
happens a lot when you're fighting against leftists. That's what poisoning the well is. Most of the trivial attacks, which have been coming at me from TikTok, and by the way, they've been coming at me on TikTok for years. This is nothing new. Are based around that specifically. They're based around the idea of well poisoning. So as we get into the video, just remember that if you come into it thinking that there's some perceived issues that you didn't know about before or something like this, it's likely that you are the victim of well poisoning. Somebody has tried to poison the well with rage bait or something else. Yeah.
And so you're unclear about my position on multiple issues. So I'm going to clarify a bunch of those today. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I didn't have time for a long time to do it, but now I do. First and foremost, let's discuss the politics of personal destruction. The idea behind this is there are people who, well, they're somewhat considered unassailable. Perhaps they are very difficult to tangle with. They may have very good positions, very good views, or be very popular due to the fact that the way that they're able to orate and disseminate those views gets picked up by a lot of people. So what happens often online and in the political realm is the politics of personal destruction comes into play. The basic idea here is that, hey, this person over here is a bad guy based on whatever the perceived sins are of his personal life or her personal life. And so they mercilessly attack those arenas because they can't actually contend with anything that person is saying. And so most of the trivial attacks against me are always based around this. It's always based around the politics of personal destruction, though often it has the opposite effect of what the detractors want. I still think that it's worth using this opportunity to clarify a multitude of positions that people are under very wrong impressions of.
Okay.
The first one that we need to get into is red pill. Andrew is a red pillar is a primary criticism that you'll see of me from various hit pieces online, that I'm a red pill content creator.
You honestly, you do see this a lot. Like, do I want to say on all sides? Like, it's primarily like a tactic. It's used a lot by people who their argument doesn't make any sense, where they'll basically try to cut you off from even having the argument in the first place by just saying like, oh, kind of like the well poisoning thing, right? They'll basically come after you with these personal attacks in order to be like, well, I'm not even gonna talk to you. Like, let's just ignore their entire argument, the logic of that argument. Let's ignore it completely and just say, well, because you're bad, because of something else, your argument is invalid. They won't attack your argument directly because they can't.
or that I in some way represent red pill ethics or red pill anything. The opposite is actually true. I'm a Christian ethicist, and I always view debates from the position of Christian ethics, always. Now, my audience and fan base knows this. However, people can use select clips in order to make it appear that that is not the case. But I'm going to demonstrate for you with clips that it is, in fact, the case, and that I have been very consistent on this point from day one. The reason that I tangle up inside of the manosphere and red pill spaces at all is specifically because I'm arguing and debating with their prescriptions, usually pickup artistry, sleeping with lots of women, promiscuity, abortion, or male feminism, various things like this, which come out of some of that red pill content space.
Yeah.
So the first thing we need to do is look, and let me show you the clips, which will prove beyond all doubt that this is a completely made up hoax. And this hoax is designed specifically around, again, the politics of personal destruction.
I'm not one of these red pill PUA teachers who writes some kind of program and tries to sell it online. I'm a political commentator, a political pundit, and a political debater. How could you ever say that you craft a better society than I, as a Christian ethicist, would craft?
My view, I'm a Christian ethicist, and I focused on politics, and specifically politics. Now, let me explain my positions on red pill and explain my positions on the manosphere in general, as though my audience knows all of this. Many newcomers coming in likely don't. But again, this is consistent across my content for years. So let's start with what the position is. The position is that Christian ethics are superior to all other ethical purviews and worldviews. And that's where I argue from. That's the position that I always argue from. And that's where I argue from. That's the position that I always argue from. Can there be some overlap with other worldviews? Yes. That's every worldview which exists. There's probably going to be some kind of overlap. An example of this is red pillars really hate feminists a lot. At least many red pillars do. And I debate often against feminism, again, from a Christian worldview. And I utilize arguments which have been picked up all over the internet, like force doctrine and things like this, which I interjected into the ethos to help as a weapon against feminism. One of the major issues here that the reason I think I get conflated with the manosphere red pillars and things like this, because I do some debates in that sphere. Remember that this accounts for very little of my content, by the way, but a lot of that stuff does end up going viral because people are interested in it, but it accounts for very little of my content. I'm actually the only one who does this. That's why I get conflated often with red pill positions and red pillars themselves, is because I'm the only Christian ethicist that I'm aware of who will actually go into these spaces.
Is that like a specific thing? Red pillars? Like, what does that mean? What does that mean, chat? What does that mean specifically? It's like, it's like Tate. It's like Andrew Tate type people. Okay, got it. I understand. Got it.
Argue and dismantle red pill talking points and red pill nonsense. The only one that I'm aware of. I literally have never seen another one. And I've tried. I've tried to open the door for more to come in, but I've never actually I've never seen another one in there arguing with these guys. So the way there was that really famous one where he was on stage and like this one like super like hyper, like just hyper like machismo like sort of dudes was like shit talking Andrew and like basically saying that like saying that like he's ugly and that he's fat and that like he doesn't have like $1 million, so he should shut the fuck up. And Andrew just fucking destroyed him on stream. Live on stage. It was actually incredible. He just made himself look, not Andrew, the other guy, made himself look so retarded against Andrew. Or we'll look at it another time, actually. But that's kind of like, I guess, a good context in that space to begin with was, a lot of these red pillars and various people like this were kind of getting brutalized by, the Matt Walshes of the world and this and that. They had a kind of brutal fight going on back and forth. And most of them would not step into the arena on the Christian ethicist side in order to combat any of these talking points and in order to combat any of these worldviews. I happen to be a person who was willing to do that. And so as a side effect of that, I was able to earn the respect of many of the red pill content creators. That's true. but not because they agree with my positions. Rather, it's due to the fact that I come in with logical arguments and utilize Christian ethics and battle their worldviews. And I've managed to change a lot of minds about this particular worldview, and they know that. And so, it's when you battle with people for long enough, often you end up earning their respect. It's a side effect of this. But I have never been, nor will ever be, a red pillar. I'm a Christian ethicist, and all the proof is there for anybody who wants to actually look at that hoax as well. Another very common attack that you'll see levied against me, and you'll see it in the titles of almost all of these videos, is alpha male does X, and then it has me, or alpha male gets destroyed, and then it has me, or alpha male does this, and then it has me. But this is a caricature. It doesn't represent me at all.
Yeah,
I'd say it's pretty accurate, like this. Yeah. But not only that, I had a very famous interaction with a gentleman named Wes Watson.
Is that the one?
Where I gave a complete and total and thorough debunking of materialism, where I rejected materialism.
That was the guy, I think.
Rejected
that was the guy, right?
Idea of alpha male nonsense.
My definition of success is having a family, having children.
This is it.
And being part of the apparatus of the world. And
this specific clip came up on my feed. And it was this specific clip that made me a huge fan of Andrew.
True wealth is a rejection of materialism. Christ said himself, what good does it benefit a man to gain the entire world at the cost of his soul? And essentially, when I think of wealth, I think of materialism. It's okay to have materialism. It's not against Christian ethics to become rich, become wealthy. But I just think it's all beside the
Roy
point,
Range moment,
ultimately.
And also, here's a clip of me doing the exact same thing, where I changed Brian at Whatever Podcast Mind about alpha male hierarchies as well. And he went and looked at the literature that I had given him about the, false wolf connection with a bunk study.
On the whole alpha beta thing, this originated in someone who did a study on wolves, but it actually was totally debunked. There's more nuance to this whole the categorization in wolf packs, for example, than an alpha.
Yeah, it's not so easily broken down into just alpha and betas. So,
but it is somewhat helpful a little bit. But
and I've always claimed that alpha hierarchies are nonsense. So the idea of like alpha male does this and that's all clickbait. Not only have I never presented myself that way ever,
he hasn't,
but it's a caricature which is used to attack me instead. Because I don't fit any of those boxes. I'm not like a gym nut or overtly aggressive or various things like this. I'm just not. I can be aggressive in debate.
The thing is honestly, I mean, just speaking personally, when like guys are like that, they're like overly masculine, like overly, like it almost like for me, it seems like weakness. Am I the only one that thinks that? Like when guys act like that, like they act super hyper masculine. It just seems like insecurity and weakness to me.
Sometimes things get heated, but I've never been in this this stupid made up category, and the proof is there that I never have been. So
thanks, Caretaker.
Ultimately,
thanks for all the subs, by the way, everybody. Thank you so much.
This is another attack.
I'm gonna follow. Sorry.
Which is designed around creating a caricature of me and then attacking that. And unfortunately, you can rage bait clips and make anything appear like anything. So another major criticism which is levied against me, this one is really silly, is that I give men advice, that I do some sort of advice giving to men and tell them that they should follow in my footsteps, or that I have life figured out, or something like this. I understand where this criticism comes from as well. This criticism is levied because many people who are in the manosphere space run various advice courses and pick up dating courses and various things like this. Of course,
Andrew does do advice, but it's not on that. It's not on like life stuff. He does it on debating specifically, which I think is fair because I think he's really good at it.
Most notably, Andrew Tate did something similar to this. I don't know all the details specifically, but it's a very common thing. And so because of that, there's a natural assumption that I must be doing the same thing, that I'm trying to teach men how to be, I don't know, great pickup artist gurus or some crazy nonsense like this. None of it's true. In fact, the opposite is true. I purposefully go out of my way not to give advice. That's not what I'm here for. I'm only here to represent a worldview and nothing more. Again, here's clips and proof of me saying over and over again, don't ask me for advice. I don't give advice. I don't do advice. So this is another criticism which is easily debunked, another hoax which has been orchestrated by my bad faith critics.
You would actually ask for advice.
The thing is, though, I mean, the problem with like a video like this, and like I get why he's doing it. I would do the same thing if I were him. Yeah, I would do that, and I do that. Is it's going to fall on deaf ears to the people that already have made their decision of who you are and how you are. But I do understand the desire for self-defense, to defend yourself and at least have what you think out there. But a lot of people aren't going to care.
You'd be able to give it.
I don't.
No?
Here's why. So from my perspective,
Yeah. You want
exactly. Well, it's not just they don't want to their life, but I think that unless you intricately know a person's situation from the inside out, and it takes a long time to do that.
Yes.
To really get to know a person, that any advice you give them is likely going to be bad unless it's basic. The reason, so I'm very cautious about giving advice to people, and here's why.
Okay.
The first reason I'm very cautious about giving advice to people is because I think it's actually mostly irresponsible unless you really know a lot about that person's personal situation, their family dynamics, their income, all sorts of different factors, that I could actually give you advice that would be detrimental to you.
What age of men do you give advice to, Andrew?
I don't give advice to men.
Now, I wanted to cover as well that I have never strayed away from my message. Again,
That's
hostile environment after hostile environment, and I have been in them, doing debates and battling with people for years. So there's nothing new on this particular
It is pretty hard.
But again, the idea that I have
this guy is PvPing constantly in like the most hostile environments against him.
some changing message or something like that is just silly. I've always stayed on the same exact message, which is to battle these people from the viewpoint of Christian ethics. And so I'm usually on the pull point saying, no, all this stuff is bad. And what they would have us do is leave ourselves at the mercy of having these things kind of go unchallenged and unopposed.
Was that thunder? Yeah, it's storming pretty hard where I am.
And it's due to the fact that I oppose these various degenerate things such as prostitution, sexuality and other things like this, that I'm under such consistent and constant attack from both the left and then the kind of weaker Christian factions who refuse to engage at all in any of these spaces, and thus leaving them completely unchecked. The next criticism, and this one is probably the most amusing for the Crucible audience and for me, the thing that I have been most attacked for years has been the fact that I have stepchildren. This has been for years and years and years what the attack is. And that's not going away. That's always been the primary vector for the politics of personal destruction.
Yeah.
Because I am conflated as being a red pillar by laymen who aren't familiar with my content. This is the primary mode of attack. And the goal of this is to try to turn certain audience segments against me because many people are against, a person being a step parent.
Wait, isn't this what I saw people saying this in chat, like literally today? Am I wrong? Like I might be wrong. I swear I saw it. I swear I saw someone in chat saying that he was a cuck.
Or various things like this, which I understand. I understand the position well. But the fact that people think that I've tried to hide this is crazy. Not only is that not the case, but this is such a bad faith hoax that it's easily dismissed. In fact, here's a clip of me the very first time I was on Fresh and Fit in front of a massive
that was you,
Red Pill audience, giving kind of a bit of backstory when they asked me these questions of me explaining that I have stepchildren and that my wife had 2 previous relationships with which children came from.
I met my wife. My wife had children from her basically a high school sweetheart.
Okay.
And then she was married and divorced. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out.
Yeah.
But same thing. She completely devoted her life to me.
Yeah.
She's been fantastic. Now,
did you come with kids as well or no?
No.
No, you didn't come with children.
And people always, I get a lot of shit for that.
Yeah.
But what's funny is it's not a contrary position to understand that there's going to be outliers who are single moms.
Yeah.
But still having the general rule that you probably shouldn't date single moms.
Yeah.
Still true.
Yeah.
I think we can agree there's a gray area.
Miss Tell, thank you so much. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for this. Thank you for 16 and 9 months. Thank you. Who is Leaflit? Thanks, Miss Tell. How you doing, man?
Date single moms?
Yeah.
Still
Honestly,
true.
to be honest, I feel like this makes him like kind of more relatable. You know, I think it in fact, in a way, it kind of increases my view of him, honestly, rather than decreases.
Yeah.
I think we can agree there's a gray area on certain things in the RP.
And see, I don't know if the audience just noticed that, right? Because a lot of people that watch like lack critical thinking skills. Like, he's just told you, yo, typically this doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
There's outliers though in everything.
Yes.
In this situation, right? In general practice, you probably shouldn't get married to a woman that has children from another relationship. However, Andrew was able to make it work, and you guys have been happily married for a while. So hey, it is what it is. But for the general masses, it ain't gonna work for most people.
Look, man.
And he even admitted that. And it's like people still talk. So it's like,
Bro,
all right.
I tried it. It didn't work for me, but it works for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't even know where this attack comes from, but it's completely bad faith, and it's a total hoax, and it's completely made up. Now, oftentimes when I'm on shows, people will send in like super chat trolls and things like this, which I'll ignore or dismiss or say I don't know what you're talking about because they're trolling. You know what I mean? They're trolling. But this is no secret, and it's never been a secret, and nobody's ever attempted to hide it. What's to hide? I'm very happy.
I agree with you, Daka. Daka says
my stepchildren.
that if you like the girl and the kids and you're willing to take on the extra responsibility, I think it's a noble thing. Well, like, especially if it's like, I guess like a person who's like, it's like he said, like she kind of turned a new leaf and she devoted herself fully to him. And I think that it makes me think of like, I don't know if this is like the right comparison to make, but it kind of makes me think of like Jesus and Mary Magdalene, you know, in a way where there's like, there's grace, but it's like, listen, you fucked up. And, you know, if you'll devote yourself, then, you know, then that's a good thing. Right. Am I wrong? I
consider them my children, always have. And I'm very happy with my own children. So, you know, on that, like kind of you, you know, it's a pretty thing to try to dunk on me for, by the way. Now, another big criticism, this happens often, this is a continuous criticism, is that because I don't generally talk about my personal life and never have, because I don't know what the hell that has to do with it.
There has to be room for genuine redemption. Like, otherwise it's kind of like, why should anybody, how do you convince anybody, right? If you don't have that. And I mean, like, that's kind of what Jesus taught as well. So it's kind of like, it's basically against everything to say like, well, you know, she fucked up and it's kind of over for her forever, right? Yeah.
Thing that somehow I'm being nefarious and hiding things and this and that and blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all.
But then again, like, you know, a word of caution though, is you do have to be very cautious with that, right? Because there's going to be a lot of women that will try to swindle you, basically. Right. Like, for instance, kind of like the worry with all of the, you know, all the OnlyFans thing where women will, you know, they'll take what they can. They'll do what they can. And then, you know, at the end of the day, when, you know, when the clock comes calling for them, you know, when appearances start to fade, you know, audiences start to fade from, you know, sexually related work. Eventually when it comes time to pay the piper, they don't want to pay it. They want to have you pay the piper, right? So it's kind of like you have to be careful of that as well. So it is something to there is some nuance to it, I think. Yeah, there's some nuance to it.
There's a distinction between hiding something and keeping things private because they're none of anybody's business. But the second thing on this is nobody is ever looking to get more information about my personal life because they want good things for me. What the entire goal always is to take various, you know, details in order to attack and assault family members, to commit to harassment campaigns of family members.
They always do this. The fucking terminally online freaks always fucking do this.
And
because they want to scare you, intimidate you, terrorize you into their worldview because they can't fight you straight up. They're like filthy fucking rogues. They cannot fight you 1v1 in a straight battle of wit words. They won't PvP you. They can't because they'll lose. So they have to do shitty things like, like that blue sky thing. Like they have to do shitty things like that. Threaten your family, threaten your life, dox you, all of this shit. Because they can't fight you. So they have to do that. It's their only way because they're too bad at PvP.
Basically do anything possible to harass people that I know or am our family or various things like this, and that's what all that it is. That's all that it's ever been. And so, of course, I don't talk much about myself and never have online, and I don't talk much about my children online. I don't talk much about anybody who's connected to me personally online. That's generally speaking a very bad idea. People will take facts and twist them to their own bidding, even if none of them are true. And when you combat that, the whole point of it is to get you to combat that with counterfactuals. And then that way they can take those and twist those as well. And then you combat those with counterfactuals.
Yeah, once you step into the arena on that, then you're discussing something completely different than your ideas.
Before you know it, that's all you're doing with your life is just combating rumor mongering lunatics. So I'm not even going to mention any of these people who continue because just to mention them elevates them. But I'm not going to be talking about my personal life ever. It's not your business. That's one. And two, I don't really care what you think. It's not particularly important to me. It doesn't affect what I'm doing, which is debating and being an entertainer. But I'm not discussing those things. There's tons and tons of various family members and things like this, including my own children, and I don't make their lives public. It's obviously that can be, when you're an entertainer at my level, it can be very threatening to various people. And so I'm not doing it, and I'm not going to sit and tit and tat war with these trolls for infinity to try to assuage whatever doubts they have about whatever. You can think whatever you want. Like I don't care about. But I do want you to at least contend with the positions that I put out there. Now, another massive attack, which comes basically from uninformed hoaxers online, is the argument from hypocrisy, the tu quo. The idea here is that Andrew Wilson is a hypocrite as he attacks single mothers, but married a single mother himself.
Your wife has 3 baby daddies and has been married twice before. If Andrew Wilson met a woman like his wife with 3 baby daddies on the Whatever podcast, he would shame her, call her a hoe, and tell her she's damaged goods and essentially unlovable. I want people to understand that they are hypocrites.
By the way, this is a self-defeating argument, as why would I be attacking single mothers if I married a single mother? It's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Mm-hmm. But just to give you some actual clips and insights here, right, so that you understand, here's some clips of me talking about this in depth on these various programs with single moms. I don't attack them at all. If a person has a terrible position, right, or they're advocating for some sort of evil degeneracy, perhaps prostitution, perhaps stripping, perhaps any number of various degenerate acts, which people tend to engage in and then move into the justification mode for, and then say those are good things or society should be moving towards these types of things, I will definitely attack those positions, and often brutally. That's the purpose of debate. But to say that I attack women for just being single moms is insane, which is why it's never accompanied by clips of me doing that. Instead, you'll only find clips of me attacking positions. People often, they think that you're attacking them based on their situation. Yeah. When you're not really attacking them based on their situation, you're just explaining the distinction in risk assessment. You're like, look, if I'm going to advise somebody, if I were to tell a man, right, is it a good idea in 2024 to get together with a single mom if another choice was viable? The answer is definitely no. Yeah. And what happens is, because they're in the situation where they themselves,
so, and this might be like an issue with just modern day, but the choice to marry somebody is like, it's a pretty big decision, and it's not a decision you want to fuck up on. So if it's like a once in a lifetime decision that you're making to marry somebody, whether that's a man or a woman, you have to have that risk assessment. And it is true that if, she's a single mom, there's a lot of factors there that could be negative in terms of like the relationship staying. It would require extra circumstance around that to basically cover for that debuff. Does that make sense? So it's kind of a debuff because there's a lot of factors around that, whether it's poor decision making, among other things. But you have to take into account all of the factors. And I'm sure that Andrew probably did that calculation that, again, it's like I said, according to Andrew himself, his wife submits to him fully. So to him, that factor might be so big that it outweighs the fact that she has children already, that she was a single mom, right? Because that factor is of itself, it's pretty rare. Like to have like a woman who's like willing to fully submit to like her husband, it's a pretty rare trait nowadays in 2025. So it's possible that that calculation ran in his head, right? But that doesn't mean that it's a good factor. Does that make sense? Because it doesn't mean that it doesn't automatically change the single mom thing into a positive, right? It just means that the positives outweighed the negative. That's the point, basically. And like, you'd have to be really like bad faith or really retarded to not really understand that logic.
Or a single mom, they see that as an attack, but it's not an attack. It's just showing, look, this is what is true. It's not the case that it may be true in your situation or anybody's situation, but there is like a statistic here that we can look to, that we can make these kind of general determinations off of based on outcomes. There could be all sorts of reasons why women find themselves.
You need to know. Gen says I need to know the statistics on marrying a VTuber. I'd say being a VTuber is a debuff, to be honest. I'm being 100% honest. If a girl's a VTuber, it's probably a bad idea.
Being a single mother, which is totally acceptable. For instance, perhaps her husband abandoned them, or perhaps their husband died.
Why? Because there's a lot of factors around being a VTuber. Retardation, like there's a lot of factors that could exist there. Antisocialness, lack of adaptability in real life. I mean, just speaking of myself, I'll speak for myself first before I talk shit about other people. But like on my note, I'm very bad socially. I don't go outside. I don't hang out with anybody. I'm a social outcast. Like these are all pretty negative things, I'd say, right? I'm a huge fucking nerd. I'm really into anime and even the degenerate side of anime culture. So I mean, it's like I said, I played a lot of games that are pretty fucking degenerate, right? All of these factors are negative, and then you take you take other you want to go even further than that. You want to expand beyond me. You have the attention seekingness. You've got the narcissism. You've got there's so many fucking negative factors for VTubers. A lack of work experience in real life. On and on. It's like a bunch of streamer syndromes, and it's like this also like fits in with other streamers as well. So I would say it's generally a bad thing.
Or perhaps there was abuse going on in the relationship. There can be extremely good reasons for
yeah, bad self-esteem as well. Bad self-esteem, really bad. Oh, mine's really bad.
Happens, and the criticism that Andrew thinks that you just can't ever be loved again because you're a single mom is absurd. And again, these clips will prove that that is the case. In fact, in this particular clip,
why is Leaflit only making men want her? Don't, guys. I'm not interested. Sorry, it's never going to happen. So I'm not trying to sell that service. I'm not trying to be your virtual girlfriend. I'm trying to talk about ideas and the news and, to be stupid and have fun online. I'm not interested in any relationships with anybody here. I never have, and I never will be. And I will never go out with you, and I will never fuck you. I will never marry you. That's just the truth. And I just want you to know that. I'm not trying to swindle you into thinking that's the case. It's not, and it never will be.
As she was leaving the studio, gave me a big hug.
Thank you for continuing. Thank you so much for the bits. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
To walk through these things with me. The position in essence is a nuanced one, and it just goes like this. It is the case that if you're a single mother, you're going to have significant dating challenges that non-single mothers aren't going to have. That's it. Also, that there's going to be a lot of men whose preference is that they're not with a mother who has children already, because that opens up, all sorts of avenues for things that they would have to deal with baggage-wise that they would not have.
My mom's single, though.
To ordinarily with women who are not single moms. How does that position equate to don't date a single mom?
It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke, Chad. I'm just being funny. It's a joke.
I have no idea, because whether or not in 2025
I can see my mom on the camera right now, on the in-house camera, fucking laughing on the couch. She's cracking up right now.
I would say I recommend it. Would have nothing to do with the bearing on the fact that there's plenty of good women out there who are single mothers who are in that position, not through any fault of their own. There's also a lot who are, and those are the facts. So for me to give the basic position and the obvious position, which is that it's going to limit options inside of your love life, I don't think is anything which is newsworthy or.
If you're awesome, please don't put yourself down. Keep with the grind and keep being awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing. I know what I want to do with stream. It's not really, you know, I don't really want to provide, like, you know, I'm just trying to be honest, you know, Zayla. Like, I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea or you know, invest some kind of parasocialness in me, because I'm not interested, basically. I'm not interested in any of that. So I just want to make that clear. So anyone that thinks that I'm grifting or I'm trying to take on the simps and milk them dry, I actually don't care about that. And I already said it. I've said it so many times. Like, I'm not interested in any relationships with Chad. That's just how it is. I'm just gonna have to accept that.
Or you know, I don't think that take should break the internet. It's pretty obvious,
bro. I am not.
Yes, and by the way, as a step parent myself, who would have more, you know, kind of experience to speak on something like that than me?
No, I'm here to, again, I'm here to hang out, talk about the news, talk to you guys about, you know, beliefs, how I feel, my takes on things. That's what I'm here to do, and also make games, make the tabletop game, and kind of create like a, you know, like a world of, you know. A fantasy world, if you will, that people can experience. And that's kind of my whole point here. That's why the company motto is, I forgot the company motto already. God, it's something world of content. Making a world of content. Making a world of content, I think that's the company motto. Yeah, so anyway.
Or my wife, having been in that position herself to speak on those issues, of course she's going to speak on those issues and speak on them from experience, as well as with stats and data and things like this. So this is an absurd attack, and it's a hoax attack. It's complete nonsense. This isn't what I do at all. I don't sit around and berate women because they're single moms. I will definitely go after women's worldviews if they're advocating that single motherhood is some type of like good conditional that you should be trying to strive towards. And yes, there are women who say that because they're insane, but it's never been my position to do that.
Yeah,
that's absurd. And if I'm lying, show the clip. Show the clip. You can't, because there isn't one. And the problem is if you have a nuanced position, in this case, the nuanced position is, look, this is going to limit some of your outcomes, which is completely reasonable to say, that somehow that means you bad. And that's
dude. And the thing is this is really a lot of the playbook on the left. They do this so much with things, right? Where you talk about, like, I'll just use my own personal example of when I have to debate against people, like the more recent ones that I had, like on the trans issue. Like, I would say things that are like, hey, listen, this is like the facts of the matter. And it would be like, oh, you hate trans people then? Oh, you're arguing that trans people should die. You're arguing that trans people should isekai themselves. I'm like, what the fuck? Where are you getting that from? I'm just talking about the facts of the matter. You know what I mean? The leap is unreal. Dude, it is. It is. So like Andrew's he's totally nailing it here. Like it's true. It's, you can critique a thing and say that the thing will lead to bad outcomes without actually hating the person. But then they can't actually make that connection in their mind. They think that if you critique them at all, that you hate them. It's actually like, it's fucking psycho, actually, if you think about it.
That's very silly. And again, a completely made up attack. Yeah, next we're going to get into one of the biggest issues which I see, which is the online seethers.
Wait, is Leaflit and
online seethers. And let me explain how this works. So in the position that I'm in,
I should learn that song so I can just sing it every time people call me a Nazi.
I think many people, well, not many, but at least some
I'm going to learn it. Yeah, I'm going to learn it.
They think that I came into an audience somehow by accident.
That's going to be my new cover, chat. That's going to be my new cover. I'm going to sing that. Do you think that'll go over well, chat, if I do a single? Like because everyone's been telling me like Leaflit, when is your single? Because like, you know, Yuria has like her own songs, and like there is actually a Leaflit song. It's just not out yet. And people have been saying like, Leaflit, when is the song coming out? When are you gonna do like a cover, or when are you gonna do like an album? Because we have a record label, right? Angel Sword Studios has a record label. Did you guys know that? Yeah, so it's like, when is the new Leaflit song gonna come out? I should just sing fucking Erica, dude. I should just do a cover. Yeah, I should totally.
I lucked into it or something like this, but I'm going to tell you what actually happened. What actually happened is that I'm a high performance debater, very high performance, and I'm a high performance entertainer. Because of that, because I put a lot of work into what it is that I do, I'm one of the best in the world at doing it.
He's very good.
At this point, I don't even think
Scary.
that that's in dispute.
Scary good.
So that takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of effort, and in order to,
it's really hard
be
because
very high performance on.
So things that a lot of times you'll overlook about this. It's really hard to be like so sharp all the time. And like, it might seem easy to just recall everything all the time, to be like, okay, well, they're going to say this thing. So like, they're going to bring up the study. Well, I already read that study, and like, here's what the study says. And like, that's really, really hard to do. And like, Andrew's like capable of like actually doing that. Charlie Kirk was fucking amazing at that. That's what made him so powerful. He was so good at that. But I'm really bad at that stuff. You guys know me. I'm ADD as fuck. So it's really hard for me to like remember. That's probably my biggest weakness, is I'm super ADD, super scatterbrained. But it's actually incredibly hard to do what Andrew does, to be honest. Like, to be like up there on the the spotlight's on you, and another person's like hard critiquing you, to be able to like just immediately, like, it is kind of like being a fighter, like a physical fighter, like being a boxer. Like, you have to be agile. You have to like know how to dodge, know how to predict like where they're gonna go, so you can cut them off. Like, it's really, really hard. Like, debating is really, really hard. It really is PvP. That's how I view these kinds of these ideological discussions, philosophical discussions. I really do view them as PvP. It really is like playing a fighting game. Akura Kitsune, thank you so much for the gift sub, by the way, to FSK. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Big Lion, for the bits. But you could shut down the German dude with 30 hours without sleeping.
You know, a huge variety of issues, everything from feminism to political takes to, I mean, just you name it. And I've probably debated it, and very competently. In order to get to that level, you have to put in a lot of hard work and a lot of study. And I mean,
it's true.
Most days I spend studying for the next debate. And of course, that information stays with you over time, and this and that. I've actually done a ton to open more doors or more Christian ethicists to come into these various spaces and do these debates. I've tried to open as many as I possibly can. I am not the guy who pulls the ladder up behind me. Rather, I do trailblazing.
You can mimic Charlie's argument style pretty well with Grok. I actually use a lot of AIs for analyzing my arguments. So like, I'll have it analyze like an entire argument line of argumentation that I have, and then poke holes into it. I'll use AI to basically fight myself, like kind of like a training mode, where I'll type out my argument, and then I'll be like, all right, AI, counter my arguments, basically. And then I will see where the weak points are in my argument due to that.
Been in this space doing this battle for so long, almost completely by myself. I would actually welcome some company. But the problem is, and this is an issue.
Cursed Boy says, try hard much, Leaf. It's my job. It's my job. If I'm going to talk about ideology, if I'm going to talk about how I feel about things, inevitably there will be a time where I have to defend it. I can't exist in like a realm where I just say a bunch of shit and then I never respond to anybody that fights me. There's going to be a time where I have to fight, regardless of if I want to or not. So I want to be as prepared for it as possible. Prepare for war.
Kind of across the board is that people don't really realize the dedication that you would have to something like this, or the high level of performance that you really have to have every single time you put on a show or engage in a high level debate or even a low level debate. And because of that, most people are not ever going to be good at it. And by most, I mean almost nobody. And what happened to me was not that I lucked into anything. It's that the cream rises to the top, and I'm very, very good at what I do. And because I'm very good at what I do, I managed to get to one of the higher, echelons
Andrew
of,
has
of
the right to say
entertainment
that,
in this particular field. So I guess what I'm saying is to the seethers and haters, they think
is this the ultimate
if Andrew
self-praise
Wilson
video?
is gone.
Well, he's explaining like all of the like basically hatred. Well, the thing is to be honest, and I think this is a really good point, is that a lot of people, when they think of like debating or discussing stuff, they kind of just think it's like, oh, well, you just go up there and talk. What's so hard about that? People don't understand like how hard it is to actually like PvP people, like discuss things with people on a professional level. It's like, it's really hard.
Will be my time to shine. But it's just a lie that you're telling yourself. Ultimately, nobody's trying to close any doors on any of you seething idiots anyway. Rather, the case is that we've been trying to open as many doors for as many people, but they can't perform. They can't perform under pressure. They can't perform in debates. They just... I want them to. This is nothing. Why would I want people that have retarded arguments? Why would I want to shut them out? Who doesn't want a little noob stomping every now and then? You know what I mean? Like, it's great. Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to thoroughly destroy them for free? Can't perform. And so what we're left with is, it's still pretty lonely in these trenches. But that's one of the reasons that I have so many haters and seethers is because... I wish I could get to that point to like kind of... Well, I'll never take I won't... I'm not going to be able to take like Andrew's actual like full position. I'm not really good at that. But I wish I could debate more and stuff like that, but I'm just, it's like I said, I got too many debuffs, man. Like I got too many debuffs. They're failed streamers. Many of them are failed streamers. They never could really get a good foothold in the streaming world. Oh, the people that are mad at him. Never could really build the large... The people who are mad at him are yeah. Audience. They never really could make kind of viral clip after viral clip without trying. They couldn't really ever do that. And so people have kind of two choices. They can either blame themselves, which is what most people probably should do, is you take responsibility for yourself. Mm-hmm. Most people are not going to be good at this, and that's not even a controversial statement. Or you can blame other people. This person, they did it to me. This person did it to me. This person did it to me. That person did it to me. It's way easier. No, that's really not the case. So if you want to spend your entire life hyper-focusing on the politics of personal destruction against Andrew Wilson, you can do that. But just note, then this is me trying to be totally honest with you, just note that it goes nowhere. Even if it were the case that somehow I left the internet tomorrow forever, that's not actually going to help your positions at all. That's not going to help you get where it is that you're trying to go. Yep. So my advice would be actually focus on making great content, and then people will watch it. But I know that falls on deaf ears. But it is something that I wanted to get out there for why the nature of the attacks. For some people, it's baffling. They're like, man, these people are extremely devoted. But that's why they're devoted. They're devoted because most of them have an axe to grind because they think it's unfair, that there's some fundamental unfairness here that's going on. That should be me is something I hear a lot, things like this. Wait, really? Like, they think do it. They think they should be Andrew Wilson? Well, then all they got to do is they should be the ones making the viral clips. They should be the ones freaking PvPing all the fucking... Like this guy, Andrew Wilson, he just PvPs constantly. To the point that sometimes he just fucking queues. Like he doesn't even have like a debate, like he doesn't have like a match or anything. He just queues. He queues into TikTok. He goes into like those TikTok lobbies where people are like just yelling at each other, like in a Discord call or whatever. He hops in there and just PvPs them. Just if you've ever like watched Andrew Wilson's content, like when he does like TikTok invasions, he just enters like these public lobbies and just PvPs people. Yeah. Stopping you. And lastly, let me point this out too. Many of the content creators who hate my guts, I have previously worked issues out with. Many times I've worked issues out with these people and never spoken about them again. And then when they feel like the opportunity is right, they begin gunning for me again because these people were never there to work out issues. They don't care about what's true. They don't care about what's false. They don't care about any of that. They only care about one thing. get the Wilsons. Now, I understand that, and that's going to be a culture which is around me perceivably for
welcome everyone
the rest of my online career. And there's not ever anything I'm going to be able to ultimately do about that. I'm just kind of fine with it. That comes with the territory. But I did want the audience to note that, and anybody watching this video, that I am willing to take on my critics, and I'm one of the few streamers who does this often, right? It's just that most of my critics are not willing to take on me, right? All they want to do is hyper focus on getting personal information from me so that then they can begin to do attack campaigns against people who I'm interpersonally connected to, which is why I don't take those debates. Andrew, let's debate about personal life from 18 years ago or 17 years ago or, whenever.
Yeah,
no
that's
thanks.
not what he's trying to
No
debate.
thanks. That's all designed to make me have to produce
personal
counterfactuals and counter evidence, which then puts people's identities at risk.
Yeah,
and then
that's a bad
that
idea.
will begin a brand new source of a harassment campaign for these people. So it's a very obvious strategy. It's been going on for years. But if you have legitimate criticisms, I'm willing to listen to them. But they have to be legitimate.
Nice. That's a pretty good one.